What's up, bookworms? Welcome to episode 93 of the Cantina Book Club podcast, where readers can find interviews with authors of all genres. I'm Megan, self proclaimed content queen, here to bring you insights from the authors themselves. Each week features a Cantina conversation with an author. Sometimes they're returning guests, sometimes it's someone new. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on an episode. And feel free to browse through existing episodes so that you can catch a previous interview about a book you finished. Just a heads up that I often use adult language to express my feelings towards these authors and their work, whether the characters need to get their shit together or I'm encouraging the badass FMC to just fuck it all and burn the world down. So please be mindful of listening ears. Books coming out this week of July 1st. Bound by Stars by E.L. Starling and Party of Liars by Kelsey Cox. Both of these are on my reading list for this month, so keep an eye out for a book review on those two. Today's episode features a chat with J.E. Thomas. We're talking about her book, The AI Incident, that's available on July 8th. That is a companion piece to her previous book, the previous chat that we had actually, and which was Control Freaks. And they both are middle grade books. So for readers who are about ages 10 to 14, any listeners or readers out there who have age appropriate kids, I definitely recommend this too. I really enjoyed reading them. And also talking to Jan again was so fun. She's such a sweetheart. And it was super cool learning all the crazy stuff she learned while researching for this book about artificial intelligence and how educators might incorporate it into schools. But without further ado, here is J.E. Thomas.
So today we've got J.E. Thomas. We're talking about her book, The AI Incident. That book comes out on July 8th. Jan, thank you so much for joining me again today. So good. Welcome back. Good to
Thank
catch up
you.
with you. And again, another cute, funny, humorous, heartfelt, and entertaining read for middle schoolers. I'm an adult, but think it's great.
Thank
So
you.
excited
Thank
to
you so
chat
much.
again.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's great to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. So to get started, can you share a summary of the book so that people can follow along?
Mhm, absolutely. So the AI incident is about a battle of wits between 12-year-old Malcolm Montgomery, who is the unluckiest kid in Colorado foster care, and Francis, which is an autonomous AI program that is housed in a robot, and it is assigned to Malcolm's new school with the stated goal of improving standardized test scores. So it's about what it means to be human, what it means to make friends, and most importantly, what it means to belong.
Yes. Yeah. I knew what to expect because I really enjoyed Control Freaks, but it was just funny because I was like, okay, like kids versus AI, what's going to happen? And then it's this poor kid. Yeah. Like unlucky. He just wants to get adopted and he's
Yeah.
freaking out because he's about to be 13. And that's to him, that's like the deadline. And I was like, oh God, here we go with some like tugging at the heartstrings a little bit here. You just coming out hot. So let's see. So yeah, we talked about last time you were here, we talked about Control Freaks. And I remember I was happy to see that Duck and Huey did make an appearance or two and true to form, very confusing from someone who doesn't know what's going on. I don't think they saw him and Huey like all dirtied up and they're like, what in the world? I was surprised because they go to two different schools, correct? I was
You.
surprised that I'm gonna like start off with what made you how did you decide where to go from Control Freaks to the AI incident? Like how come you didn't explore more of the people in Doug's class or in Doug's school? Why did you decide to like hop on over to another school?
Oh, that's a great question. I wanted to explore what school is like in 2 completely different schools. Huey School is incredibly well-resourced. They had 50 different options to choose from for lunch. They had a science building and an arts building and an auditorium. They had all of these things. And I wanted to flip that and see what the school experience would be like in a place that's less well-resourced. So that was one. And then I also really wanted to explore the concept of isolation and not feeling like you don't belong, feeling
Mhm.
lonely, So I read a lot about the crisis of loneliness, and particularly among teens and tweens, how they feel separated from each other. So I wanted to dig into that, and I felt as though Doug and Huey were such good friends, and they ended the book friends with the rest of their class, that it was I wanted to take a different look.
Yeah, that's so fascinating to me, and that was a good idea, I think, because yeah, it is night and day with them, and I think that is a powerful move because if you're looking at your audience, like middle schoolers, like not all of them are gonna have access to those types of resources, but
Right.
also exploring the same circumstances almost like children, they're facing challenges and they have to listen to the adults even though they disagree and they're like finding themselves and like semi coming of age because I think they still got more coming of age moments because they're
Mhm.
still
Yeah.
really young. But yeah, that was really interesting that you did that. And I think that was a really good idea just for the sake of exploring different circumstances and with similar themes. That was really cool for sure.
Thank you. I also wanted to delve into the adults world here as well, because I decided, instead of trying to scour the internet to find out more about AI, there were a couple of questions that I posed to 2 different AI programs. And because I think when people are talking about AI, so often we speak about it as though it's this one ubiquitous entity.
Sure.
But so I asked ChatGPT, and I think it was also Copilot, how
Okay.
many different AI programs are there? And they came back with different numbers, not surprisingly, but it was over 60,000. And s
Holy crap.
Right? And
I had
so
no idea.
neither did I. And then I also posed the question of how many different ed tech applications are there? And that was I don't remember that number offhand, but it was definitely in the 5 figures. And so
Oh, wow.
to when we think about saying AI, it's so much of it can be based on which AI program we just happen to be using. Like, might
Mhm.
dictate our experience, and that's one of the things that I wanted to show in this book, and then also to show how teachers can be caught in that middle ground of trying to figure out, should I use AI? Which AI should I use? How do I become part of the conversation with administrators and districts on selecting AI and incorporating it? How do we define success? There's so many questions involved. Then I also wanted to show the teachers in that web of figuring out what to do.
That is so crazy. I haven't really messed around with AI that much, it terrifies me. And I'm just, like, reluctant because 'cause I'm like, I see the benefits of it, but I'm worried about also that freedom, like,
Mhm.
free will and people, like, who have access to it and what their intentions are and how certain AI platforms are learning from those certain people, and yeah. Yeah.
I kn I know. I was shocked by how quickly AI scrapes content and then consolidates it to push it out again. So I don't ask it to do things like, "Oh, write my next book for me," or "Do
Yeah.
this or
Yeah.
that." Yeah.
'Cause I know that's, like, really controversial, especially in the author's world where,
Mhm.
like, a lot of their works are being used without their permission to train AI,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's wild. Like, I get, like, the concept behind it, but no way you have to get their permission. That's horrible. Like, why
Yeah.
they were it sounds like somebody was just trying to do it and hoping that nobody noticed.
I know there's, I don't know if it's still active, but it was just several weeks ago. The Atlantic had a website where you could go in and you could put in the name of your book and you could put in your author's name and see if it had already been taken for large language model training or AI. So I went in and I put in the control freaks, do, 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 and
Yeah.
yep,
Oh,
It had
no.
and so it's the idea of working so hard on something, spending years on something, and then it's yeah,
And
that's
then a machine can scan it and be like, "Thanks." Oh my gosh, yeah, I would be so infuriated, I totally get it. Cause yeah, it's like your baby, and some authors, they work on it for 10 years before they feel like they wanna try to get it published. It's to me, yeah, and that's partially why I'm a little reluctant to AI because I know it's coming no matter what. It's already here. It's gonna only get smarter and probably more dangerous, but I don't wanna feed it. I don't wanna be part of the equation, part of the, like, the feed, the data, the numbers of
Mhm,
whatever they're gonna scan through, even though I'm sure I'm already there. And then also, because I definitely see the benefits of ChatGPT just for the or AI just to do good. It's you hear about, oh, how AI can there's certain AIs that can diagnose I think one was, like, it could diagnose women's breast cancer, like, 5 years earlier than the
mhm,
average doctor can. And I'm like, "Yes, stuff like that, medically I could definitely see those types of benefits or even just like projections and things like that. Like
mhm,
it totally but stuff like yeah, where it's like me as like a marketer, I know that it can complement some of my skills, but then it's like my a lot of what I do is like writing
mhm,
and designing. And
mhm,
so it's no, like people are already using AI to like populate ideas and populate visual graphics and components and stuff like that. And even I use Photoshop all the time, and there's Photoshop has an AI component where you can type in a term and then it will generate on whatever you're working on and whatever canvas you're working on to fill in some parts. And it's and because I have two little boys, I'm just like hoping and again terrified that this is a new skill that I'm gonna have to learn, like, how to differentiate, how to identify, like, a deep fake, how to identify things like that, and then how do I explain that to my kids who are becoming increasingly exposed to online media and or just in general. Because yeah, both have their own tablets, and we both when we're in summer mode, we're more so regulating their screen time, but it's like a lot of the times they can choose their own content, even if it's like
mm,
YouTube Kids and you can regulate the age appropriateness,
mhm,
it's still like they're choosing their own content and you never know. And then YouTube can do its best to be like, oh, please indicate if this was altered media or whatever, but not everybody. That's kind of like what the honor system. So this and like you touch on some of those, like where Francis, he doesn't want to go down without a fight, and he was doing like some malicious things, like in trying to brush it off. Oh no, I was a mistake
exactly.
for some of those things. Yeah,
Yeah, it was a hallucination. Oh, but I said it, so it's fact.
yeah, I can't be wrong. What are you talking about? And it's just poor and then obviously we'll try to be spoiler free, but it was like poor Malcolm again with his like lack of luck or he only had bad luck and he was just like, "Why is Francis out to get me now?" Yeah.
And that was one of the things I also wanted to put in. I didn't want to say in the book, AI is bad or AI is good. I think that's something that readers need to make decisions on for themselves. But what I did want to do is not to um, make Francis, the AI, the autonomous AI, a cozy semi-human, which is this is a machine.
Yeah.
And it can say
The
joy and
anxiety and
glee.
trepidation. Like he would
Yeah.
just blurt out and be
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just saying this like like whatever this collective what you guys call these emotions, like
Mm,
what these things like these I forget what it was, but he was like it was based on calculations and that's how he was identifying the emotion.
exactly.
The kids were
Exactly.
so confused.
Yeah, it's like mathematically, I should be joyful, so
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah. It was so silly. That was so funny. I imagine and then some of the characters, again, humorous, entertaining, like silly, but typical like middle schoolers. And I do want to touch upon some of the running like sensitive topics that you have of the foster system and Malcolm just struggling with that and his anxiety around following his checklist. And this is he needs to do it so that he needs to complete this so that he can get adopted before his 13th birthday. And also, like, when he develops a stronger connection with his foster mom, and then when things happen where things look like they might not work out, he's struggling with that, and gets a little depressed for a while. And so I want to explore like how you navigated those and how you integrated that into the storyline and any additional research that you had to do, maybe that was different than Control Freak, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was. With regard to the foster care system, I researched in a variety of ways. I read stories that former foster kids posted about their lives. I researched organizations that are in place to support foster kids, foster parents, and families that have formed via adoption. I spoke at length with a retired caseworker, supervised hundreds of children during her tenure, and she helped me understand not only the impact of foster care on the foster kids, but also on the caseworkers because they get attached also, and it's really hard when you see something fall through the cracks, and by something, I don't mean the kids, the efforts that you've put in place to hopefully
Yeah.
have this child either reunify with their biological family or be adopted. There was that, and then my dad spoke at length about his time. He was raised primarily by aunts and uncles, so he was in the kin care system.
Okay.
So I was able to lean into all of that. Malcolm is not based on anyone's life. He is a complete fictional character, figment of my imagination. But nonetheless, all of that research helped inform who he was, and then a little bit as well on the impact of social media and the push to be perfect, online. You present your
Mhm.
best either through filters or whatever. So there's so much internalizing of if something doesn't go my way, it's because of me. It's always because of me, and if I could just be if we look at a lot of what social media says, if I could be taller, if I could be prettier, if I could be this, if I could be that, then I would be fine. I would get all of this, and so I had Malcolm just create that checklist of, if I can do all of these things, then I'm making quote marks, "earn a family."
Mhm. And it's like his logic is not bad. Like
I know, right?
like some of the things on his checklist, I was like, "Okay." It's just because, yeah, he didn't like exactly like you said, it's internalized. He didn't learn how to, like, forgive himself yet. If he's not
Right.
perfect, if he's not funny, if he's not making friends, if he's not doing this or that, the other that's on his list, like, he didn't see failure as an option because failure meant, like, he was gonna go to his 10th, 11th, or 12th, like, foster home
Right.
until he was, 18, and it was like and I know he's a fictional character, but he still like, seemed like a mentally, at least for the most part, stable considering he had to bounce around so much, and
Yeah.
he got disappointed a handful of times when he had to
Mhm.
switch or, like, with 'cause I remember when it was, like, sad when he was in his, like, describing, because it's third person point of view, but when he like, the narrator is describing his experiences, like, catching the reader up, and
Mhm.
it was just, like, he wasn't angry or he wasn't necessarily acting like a victim, he was just, like, accepting, and he was, like, understandably had a pessimistic view out of his situation, and I just felt for him. I was like but then I love it because then you see, like, Miss Betty, their relationship was hilarious to me. I would just like to put 2, like, awkward, like, people together who don't really know how to interact with each other, and I loved it. It was so funny.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. And it's weird how when you're lonely, you might not use that word. You might not say, "I'm lonely," but it changes the way you walk through the world. It changes how you walk, how you stand, how you speak, how you breathe. And poor Mrs. Betty she was really lonely, but she didn't have the
Yeah.
words for it. Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah, because 'cause you're absolutely right. Because yeah, maybe loneliness, we think, "Oh, we're by ourselves," but that's not always it. It's, like, lonely, you feel like you don't connect to people, you don't have any, like, a support system, and you don't, like it's not necessarily like lack of interaction. You could have your own little network as she
Yeah.
does. She has Malcolm essentially like there in her house. But she just yeah, like she felt like she didn't really it wasn't there. She felt
Right.
detached, I could see. And she was just trying to plug away, but I don't know. I thought she was a great foster mom even as what's the word I'm looking for? She wasn't, like, anxious, it wasn't, like, anxiety, it was she was hesitant, and there's
Yes.
some self-doubt because she was,
Yes.
like, second guessing herself. I could tell even though it's not I think there was only maybe only a couple instances that were adult point of views, which I thought that was interesting because in your previous book, in The Control Freaks, you had a couple more of point of views from the administrators, like teachers and the
Mhm.
parents a little bit
Mhm.
more. Was it mostly because I wanna explore, like, how did you approach these 2 completely different I know you did, but, like, even, like, the format and the writing style, because you did include letters or emails and stuff like that, like you did between the 2. But, yeah, was it I kinda wanna explore, like, why you chose to feature Malcolm's day in the life more so than I would say he definitely got more page time comparatively, the ratio versus Control Freaks were Doug and Huey, they were sharing it for a little bit, and then we see other people's point of view as well.
That's really good. I wanted to delve into just I use this word a lot, and there's probably a better word, but the messiness of
Mm,
making friends, and because of that, I thought the third person point of view would be more effective than alternating between Malcolm and Tank, who is his own kind of lonely. And,
they're so him and his twin, they're so funny. Him and Jade.
yeah, it's you made my birthmark look like a little footprint. It's you,
Yeah.
it's your fault.
That was so funny to me. I'm like, "Where does she come up with this stuff?" It's just, "Oh, she's mad at me. She thinks that I kicked her out like, I kicked her out so I could come out first."
I know, it's 12-year-old logic.
But it's I feel like that's just gonna be a running joke, like, no matter how again, I know they're fictional characters, but it's so funny. Just it's something to be said about me being able to connect to them and thinking that they're hilarious is because I'm like, "Oh, they're real people." No, they're not. They're just like they're 12-year-olds who, like yeah, exactly, 12-year-old logic, 12-year-old not seeing just, like, the emotions, and then I love Malcolm's point of view when he's like what the prefrontal lobe, and he
Oh,
kept
yes.
he referred to it the rest like, the whole time, it was like its own little it's a part of him, but he treated it like it was, like, an external part of him. He was like, "My prefrontal lobe is not doing this like I need it to be, or it's screaming at me even though I know." Like, I love that because 'cause you're, like, you're capturing, like, the nuances and, like, the complicated like, how complicated the adolescent mind can be because it's so crazy to me. Like, what do they understand? What's going on in their head? What what can they acknowledge? Like, how self-aware are they versus things that, like, are going a mile a minute that they don't even think about? Like,
Mhm.
what their brains are doing that they don't even like the tip of the iceberg, right? It's 10% is how what's acted out or said versus but the 90% that it took to get there is that what they don't really acknowledge or know about. I thought that was so fascinating how you and I'm guessing a lot of that was either your own knowledge or some other research that you had to do.
Yeah, a lot of it scaring, I think part of it is because it was very easy for me to regress to my 12-year-old self.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was like, that came out very easily, Jan, why is that?" Uh, but then there was also the research on the development of the brain and how emotions so often precede intellectual thought, and I just wanted to pack that into the kids in different ways and to
Yeah,
let them experience it, and yeah, there when I think about those kids, and they lived in my head for more than a year,
yeah.
but some of them, like Tank was just I adored him. He was so funny and so serious. "I'm going to solve the problem of algae."
Yeah, he was like his random obsession with the sea life, like marine biology and stuff like that, like, where he would just use them as insults and nobody knows what he's talking
I
about.
I know.
So funny. That's what I, like, appreciated about it because it was like, yeah, I'm going into it knowing that it's for middle schoolers, but it's even as an adult, like, I can find entertainment out of it. I can find humor out of it, like, even if I don't know if it's just I wouldn't say like, okay, maybe I have 12-year-old humor, but I don't even think that's it. I don't think that's it. I think it's just, like, our personalities. I think I was speaking to someone about it where we are all like the same person from what like our personalities are just the same over our entire lives for the most part. We just learn we as we mature, we just learn how to act. Like we just
Right.
learn how to but
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like every time I'm with my kids at the playground, if I'm like bored, if I don't have the dog or anything, I'll go and sit on the swing and go like swing back and forth. I'll go roller coasters. It depends. I think but it was funny, I'm thinking of all these things, and if you see all these adults doing just enjoying, like, doing silly things and enjoying life, but it's just
Mhm.
like we're all big kids. I feel like we're all just big kids. Even, like, the most serious people, I
Mhm.
bet you they still will enjoy things that they loved since they were, like, 7, since they
Right.
were, like, 10,
Yeah.
which still, like, "Oh, like, something clicked, and this became part of my personality," and even 30 years later, it's still even if not, it's like somehow that manifests into something else, but I feel like it's we're all just big kids and we're all just like the same. It just we just learn how to act in society. We just learn
Right.
like well norms and how to interact with people and how to build relationships and how those relationships shape us. And but at the end of the day, like when you strip everybody down, I feel like there's so much like a 5-year-old versus 35-year-old. Could there's so it could almost like, you could trace, like, a personality through decades, in my opinion.
Wouldn't that would, I think, be so much fun to do because I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. This is a bit off topic, but have you seen the videos of the Alzheimer's patients who have lost the ability to speak? They can't form
Oh.
sentences, but then someone will play music and they will start singing the lyrics. It just
Oh,
comes back. It
wow.
just triggers something in their brain. And that is, um,
That's
that's something else that
fascinating to me.
fascinates me too. Me too.
That's crazy because yeah, it's who and then that music that channel that opens through music could be used to try to achieve other things, and that's so wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy, but for some reason, I'm not surprised. I'm like, music
Mhm.
is crazy. Our brain's response to music, it's so crazy to me. Same with smell. Well,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
smell, I think isn't that the strongest tie to,
I
like,
think so, yeah.
memory or, like, emotions? Like, like, same, if I smelled my ex-boyfriend's distinct cologne, distinct scent, I feel like I could like, "Whoa, what time period am I in? What" I'd be like, "Am I a 20-year-old in college again? Because I swear I smell that cologne," or whatever, or versus or same with newborns, how newborns smell. There's that
Mm.
always that biologically, like, what that does to us, but it's
Mhm.
just some people, like, love it. They, like, love that newborn smell, and it's so stuff like that, it's funny and it's crazy to me, but you're absolutely right, and that is so fascinating that if with Alzheimer's patients, because I very luckily, I have very little familiarity with it. I don't have any direct experience with it, but that's amazing. I imagine it could also be really tricky to study too, but that's I felt like what a gift, like
Mm.
what a to learn that, to discover
Mhm.
that. That's
Right.
wild.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild. What were the most challenging parts to write? What were the most enjoyable parts to write?
That's those are good questions. I think the answer might actually be the same, but there are, and it's, I'm trying to figure out how do I say this without spoiling anything, but there are parts where Malcolm thinks of his parents, whom he never met, and getting into that emotion was that was hard, I think, and putting that on the page, just experiencing it myself and then putting it on the page, that was
Mm.
hard. And then there were parts that some of them I just loved, like Daisy Kwan, I just loved her. Yeah.
She was such a random gem.
Yes, yes, and I loved writing about the coaches because they were trying so hard, but,
Yeah.
um, they were so goofy. I really liked that. Um, so yeah, I think writing the humor was a lot of fun, and then making myself take the time to experience Malcolm's emotions. That was probably the hardest part because part of my instinct was, well, write it faster, have it be shorter, just write faster so we skip over some of those more difficult parts. But I thought it was important to do.
Yeah, yeah. That's absolutely right. It's like you wanna be it's even though there is discomfort there, you wanna be authentic and you wanna treat it with respect and sensitivity and kind of I think that just helps you understand it better and yeah, the effect that it has on you, and so you
Mhm.
just understand it better to put that on the page. Because yeah, I was like I felt for him, he was again, like, he's, like, unluckiest kid, and he had some cards stacked against him, and when you're that age, it's he was at the point where he knows there's not really a lot he can do about it. Like,
Right.
they seemed like with the foster care system and with this case studies, I like, it did seem like they took his personality, they took his needs and wants into consideration for sure, but there were still, like, the system. They
Mm.
still had to cross the T's, dot the I's, they still had to do their due diligence, and obviously they're adults, but at the same time, he was like I felt for him because he's, "You guys, like, why isn't it up to me? What if I tell you?" Like, I and it's he's, "This is what I want," and then he's even telling them, he's, "I don't feel that way anymore," and then
Yeah.
it's just it's so sad. I'm like, "Buddy, oh gosh, I'm rooting for you." Just
I know. You
it's so
just wanted to give him a hug sometimes. Yeah.
I know, I was like, "I'll adopt you, but I don't know how that's gonna" Nope. That's it. Him and Miss Betty forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know, 'cause it does there are certain I think, because my husband and I, we have 2 kids, and I don't think we ever really considered adoption because we were fortunate we were able to conceive, but I don't I've known a couple of family members who were, like, adopted or, like, taken into guardianship, and it is tricky. It is, like, super tricky, and there's a whole system out there, but I just feel like there was a couple different I think it was like Instant Family or something. It's with Mark Wahlberg and I think Rose Byrne,
Yeah.
and they're like they're becoming a foster family, and they decide to take on they were looking for a younger one, but then they realized it has this little child had 2 siblings. One of them's like a 15 or 16-year-old in high school. They decided to just keep them all together and foster all of them, and then it's very humorous, but towards the end, spoiler alert, when they're trying to make it official. It gets I loved I finished the movie, like, uh, feeling things I didn't expect to feel. Like, I got a
Mhm.
little emotional
Mhm.
watching, like, the just how that all turned out for everyone, and just, like, the joy and the happiness and the relief and the excitement. Like, it's a happy moment. It's a happy
Mhm.
moment, and then I'm thinking about these judges who I imagine they go through so much BS, like, all the time, and then those are the cases that
Yeah.
they that get them excited, that
Yeah.
they love to see. Okay, "Oh, what are we here for? To make things official? Oh, yes, okay."
Yeah. Would that feel good? That would be yeah, that would really be make you
Yeah,
feel good, I think.
I know, and I just because again, it's luckily I don't have any experience with it, but I feel for kids who, like even, like, with the little details of he had a trash bag, and that's so common, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
was his bag,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think I heard, like, a celebrity talking about it where she was in the foster care system and now one of her initiatives, she tries to provide she'd like started a program to provide suitcases for foster kids so that because she was like, that's like the bottom of the barrel feeling is you don't even have a bag for all your things when you're traveling amongst different households and you just got a trash bag. Like
Yeah.
how does that make you how would that make a child feel? Like they're just carrying their stuff around in a trash bag, and, like, stuff to me, it's like even something as simple as that, that you think, like, such a small symbol, but it's huge. I would say it's such just seems like a small thing, but it's a huge, like, symbol that it's so much more meaningful than just a bag to carry your stuff in. It's a representation of, like, how they're being I imagine it's almost, like, comparable to, like, just ping pong balls and, like, they're
Mhm.
just back and forth or even, like, a pinball machine, like, they're just bouncing and someone's trying to keep them afloat, and they don't have a whole lot of say or power. I should say they have say, but they don't have a whole lot of power
Power.
yeah.
Exactly. And I think with Malcolm, he tried to rationalize it, so he called it his suitcase trash bag, and at least he got the word in there, but that was it. And that's yeah,
Yeah.
I learned a lot about that in talking with the retired caseworker of how
Yeah.
that's very real.
Yeah.
And it can
Yeah.
happen, the transition from one place to another can happen so quickly. That's you have neither the time nor the apparatus to carry your things with any sort of dignity. It's you shove it in a trash bag and off you go.
Oh, I know. I'm like, this just makes me realize like I've had the luxury of having a stable home and parents who were together and alive still. But I can't imagine like that stress on a child having to like pick and choose what items mean that much to you that you want to hold on to.
Mhm.
I imagine what besides clothes or knickknacks or journals or stuffed animals or because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't, for me, I'm like too much there's just a lot of stuff. Like I kinda get anxiety, like if there's too much stuff. And like with my kids, I'm like, they just bring I feel bad saying it, but they come crap from school all the time. Not their crafts necessarily, but like my 7-year-old, he's got like his work, his schoolwork and stuff that he like and I've got like piles of it on our kitchen table that I need to go through because like summer just started. And I asked him, I'm like, honey, do you want me to like save your graded paperwork or do you want is it okay if I get rid of it? He's no, save it. I'm like, why? Like, why? But it's yeah, it just reminds me of, like, the whole like, the 180 of it, like, the different worlds of it where,
Mhm.
yeah, a child in foster care isn't school, again, may or may not be his haven, may or may not be something that he wants to keep with him, or he doesn't get sentimental about his schoolwork, but that he's more concerned about because that's just more stuff he has to carry, or that's more stuff that he has to keep track of, and that's it's just yeah, it's an eye opener for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting for me to think again about what Doug and Huey's lives were like versus Malcolm's because they had laptops
Yeah.
and phones and they had lots of homework every night. They had backpacks stuffed with books. They had things. And Malcolm is at a school where it's really homework light and you don't take books home, and sometimes you have to check a laptop out of the school library because you don't have your own. Yeah.
Yeah, it is again like night and day. And it's that was really I bet that was like also fun for you to just explore that and notice all those things and then integrate all those things and all those details for sure.
Yeah.
Um so what do you hope readers get out of the AI incident?
I hope they feel comfortable asking questions. For younger readers, I hope they realize that just because AI says something doesn't mean that it's correct, and so they should verify it. AI might make it super fast to do your homework, but that doesn't mean that you've actually learned anything. Yeah, I hope they ask questions about that, and I hope they recognize the value of human relationships. So I think that's also really important. For teachers, I hope that they recognize the value of being part of a discussion about AI in the classroom or ed tech in the classroom of what do we choose? How do we use it? How do we know if it's successful? How do we know if it's benefiting students? How do we adjust curriculum to reflect it? I have a friend who teaches English language arts for 7th grade, and one of the things that she told me is that she grades based on originality and voice, as well as the technical aspects of what the assignment was. So if a student decides, "Oof, I'd rather go play football and not do my homework, so I'll just chat GPT this essay," when they turn it in, it may not sound like the way they speak. It may
Yeah.
sound like 50 different voices strung together to create um, an essay. So I hope that is the case. And I also hope, even for developers, tech developers, that they recognize that this is a really big sandbox. So
Yeah.
if you have a different perspective on something, go ahead and invent that and that way people can choose what they want. So, yeah,
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah, and
different
it
takeaways.
right, but it's also, like, in a little package for, middle school level, middle grade
Mhm.
level, so it's easy to digest, but also, yeah, it's almost life lessons, whether or not you wanna it could be life lessons for that age group, but also there's something to be said about nitpicking at that, just picking the book or picking your brain, so to speak,
Yeah,
picking the
yeah.
book's perspective.
Yeah, and I think even for foster parents, I hope they're able to read it and realize, okay, it's not instantaneous. It's not something that's going to happen in a minute. It's going to take a while to form that bond, and that's okay. I hope that
Yeah.
they can empathize with Mrs. Betty. And for foster kids, I wanted to create a book where they get to be the hero of the book without the weight of it just being solely about their navigation through the foster care system. This is a kid who's doing battle with a rogue AI, and I wanted them to have that as well.
Yeah, oh, that's a good point because it is yes, they are foster, but that's not the top of the list of who they are.
Yeah.
That's more so their situation that also contributes to who they are. But yeah, like Malcolm, he was like reluctant almost in a lot of things, but he was a go-getter when it came to things that mattered and things that he cared about. And he had a moral compass and
Yeah.
he was good at basketball, right? Like or good
Yeah,
at sports, I would say maybe because like I know in gym class it was a couple times where like he surprised some people. He used that to his advantage, but then like when he was kicking the ball around at the house and that like cute little bonding moment with Miss Betty, I was just like, oh, like I just there was like moments like that where you could tell something was shifting a little bit. They were moving past the awkward and they were saying words to each other and
yes. Yes. I like tossing in little surprises like that, and the same with Daisy, where the basketball players were like, "Oh, we can do this," and then she
yes.
came out with her sparkly shoes and
Like, when they coming out like just like a ball of glitter almost, just all bright and shiny. It was so positive. It was she's just, "What?" And then, of course, like, people are like, "Okay, underestimate her, that's cool." Alright, what advice do you have for Malcolm? What advice do you have for Tank?
So we're assuming this is like a what happens
Yeah,
next?
let's
Well,
assume yes, because I know it's funny because when authors need clarification, it's because if they listen to you at the beginning of the book, there'd be no book. So,
right,
yes,
exactly.
advice going forward.
Okay. I think the big one, stay friends because they bring out the best in each other. Tang should wash his hands more. Since his algae experiments
Yeah.
keep have fun, I guess, would be the thing. Just have fun. Their lives would change radically after the coming school year anyway, because they'd be in 8th grade, and after that, it's high school. But if they can find a way to stay friends, I think that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it could be tricky too. I think it happens. Friendships are crazy like that, where
Are.
you have your close-knit friends at certain points in your life, but there's
Yep.
like a few that really they're there with you throughout all your phases in who you are. Like I think I have one friend, we've been friends for oh my God, since we were like 12. Yeah, like 12 like 6th grade, I want to say.
Mhm.
So yeah, like, holy crap, that's like a lifetime friendship almost. It's like
Yeah.
we fell out of touch sometimes because we're going through different phases in our life, but we always found ourselves back together, and, like,
Mhm.
right now we're at a point where she and I are like, "This movie's coming out, you wanna go see it?" We're like movie dates or, like, birthday dates
Oh,
'cause like, I have a family and she doesn't, she's still single and, like, working and stuff, but we always are like, whenever our birthdays come up, I reach out to her like, "What do you wanna do something?" Or we'll plan, like, to get our nails done, see a movie, go get oysters. It's almost second nature by now. We have a routine, and it's really funny because I don't know, like, that movie Megan that is coming out about the AI robot or whatever, it's like it's like a life-size person, but designed by this huge tech company, but it's, like, campy, but it's so the sequel's coming out this month, but the first movie, she was like, "Megan, we gotta go see it." Like, "Megan, Megan." Like And it was funny because it's like campy, but it's like kind of horror theme, but it's like you can't you could take it just seriously enough
Mhm.
to like where it's yeah, there's it's gory and there's but it's really entertaining. So I don't know what kind of genres like or film or TV entertainment that you're into, but if that's a funny way to explore an entertaining way to explore AI because it's just this program where her objective is to protect the little girl, protect Katie.
Oh.
And so if she's getting bothered by a dog, like if the neighbor dog bit her, or if she's getting bullied, like physically bullied by another kid, Megan is like, "Absolutely not," and she takes care of the problem, but because she's technology, she doesn't have any value really for human life or in the second so I've only seen the trailers for the second movie, and it's basically they have to trust her again because there's a bigger problem out now,
Mm.
and it's funny to see "You took away my body because of this," and they're like, "No, it's because you did this and this." They're like reasoning with an AI. No, this is why
Mhm.
you were deprogrammed or demoted into this, this like it was funny. So I'm really excited, but it was yeah, I know I went off in a tangent, but it was really funny because talking about those like the decades long friendships and how that reminds me of we like find ways to connect with each other, but then if we go on whatever, like we have college friends, right? And so our
Mhm.
college friends, like those are really lifelong, like substantial. And like I have groups of college friends, we all have like families now, and we're all like try to do family things together. And we still do like our Halloween pumpkin painting, and we still do our Friendsgiving, and we just bring the kids this time. And it's just, we just figure out a way. So that's no, that's my long winded way of saying, yes, I hope they stay friends too. And I think that's so important. And it reminds me, because like my kid, my oldest, he's going to be in third grade, which is like crazy to
Aw.
me. And then my youngest, I just have the 2. My youngest, he is gonna be in his last year of preschool. But yeah, it's just I wonder, like, the kind of friendships that they're developing now, like, if that's what's gonna stick and who's
Yeah.
gonna be available and
Yeah.
who 'cause they're at that age where it's, like, up to us, the parents,
Mhm.
to help facilitate that friendship too. If they wanna have play dates, it's up to us to figure it out, stuff like that. But yeah, it's absolutely friendships, I agree, they're so important, like, at almost every stage of life, like, even as an adult,
Yeah.
I'll still, like, drunk text my best friend, like, random questions or, like, video call her. "Wait, I need to talk to you about something," I'll video call her and stuff like that. So, sorry, I know this is, like, a middle grade
No.
conversation, but it's just, like, something to be said about those, like, the value of those friendships where I'm like,
Yes.
I'm thinking about her when I'm, like, whatever I'm feeling.
Er,
I'm still, like, that those are my comfort people, and
yeah.
those are, like, the people I turn to, and even if it's just, like, a stupid question, like, "How much like, what do you guys do for your end of the year teacher gifts?" Like that, where I was like, "I don't know what to do, like, what do you" you know, like
But I think that is so true, and that's one of the other aspects of the book too, of you can plug in to an AI and say, "Be my friend," and it says, "Okay." But is that the friendship you want when
Yeah.
you are feeling low? You want to
Mhm.
talk to a computer? Do you
Yeah.
want to talk to a person who knows you? Do you want somebody who can reach out and hold your hand or share a smoothie with you or just walk with you down a path? Do you want that human interaction or do you want to
Yeah.
influence?
And I don't know if there's even an argument to say sometimes you want a computer interaction. I don't know, like, when it comes to, like, emotions or just how you talking about your thoughts and feelings, it's like talking to another human being is you can't beat it. There's not a lot that can replicate that
Yeah,
at
but there are
all.
companies out there creating.
Ugh, leave it alone. 'Cause then you're just teaching AI to get pissed off and take matters into their own hands when they get pissed off. And why is that a good idea? Because if AI can feel emotions, what's to stop them from wanting to just burn the world to the ground because everybody sucks? They have to learn how to regulate, okay? Let's, like, either start there or don't do it at all. Like, I don't what was, like I was one of the things I wanted to ask, what were, like, the more fascinating things? Because to me, I imagine there was, like, so many fascinating things that you learned while, like, studying AI and the implications of it. Was there anything, like, was most surprising that you learned?
I was surprised by the marketing of it. versus, say, the proven applications of it. So it's super easy to
Oh.
say, "I created Janbot, and it does this." Where and I can market it and promise it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to do what I said it would do. So I just
Oh.
it's just the huge amount of marketing on AI that's out there, the many promises that are being made about what AI can do. I think I found that fascinating. I was surprised by, I guess I shouldn't have been, but the push to make applications that look and sound more human. I
Mm,
found that fascinating as well, of instead of a robotic voice, have a
yeah.
voice that has inflection, have a voice that can mimic someone. I found that fascinating also. And then I one of the things that I really enjoyed is having conversations with kids because kids were really depending on which kids I talked to, some were
You're
like, "I never want an AI friend. Who's friends with an AI?"
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some like that, and then there were others who said, "Yeah, I talk to AI, and we have conversations, and this is
Wow.
my friend." So it's interesting. It was I
Like, what
found
age groups?
middle school, elementary school,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
some teens as well.
Okay. Yeah, because 'cause I'm thinking so I'm looking at with your 2 books, like, my oldest, he's approaching the age where that reading material might be appropriate, so I think
Mhm.
it'd be fun to, like if he was 'cause right now he's, like, into the Dog Man books, which
Yeah.
I don't that's fine, I don't like, the origin story is messed up, but it's okay. But I was like, whatever you what if you're reading, I'm that's the point. Yeah, I can't imagine, like, that didn't even cross my mind that children would be interacting with AI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
That's crazy.
I think one other thing that intrigues me, and it's not just me, I think a lot of writers do this. We make up something, and then in the time period between when we finish the manuscript and it goes through editing and it's available on the shelves, whatever we made up is it's out. It's
Mm,
reality. It's with Control Freaks, Doug made Doug app, which would scan the internet,
yeah,
write papers, and it came back not sounding like
right.
his stepbrother TW, but it was fast. So, and by the time that book came out, there were a lot of discussions about ChatGPT and kids using it to write papers, and the papers sounded
Yeah.
hollow. And I thought that was really interesting. And with this one, I, at the time I was writing it, I was thinking, oh, so what if school districts decided to possibly replace teachers with AI programs, and that would never happen. And then here we are. So it's just fascinating to see how quickly technology, I think, leapfrogs.
Yeah. It really especially in recent years, I feel like it's exponential growth, right? Like,
Mhm.
it's once we figure it out, then it just skyrockets from
Yeah.
there. As
Because
I
we
yeah.
'cause if you I don't know if you read Bradbury or Asimov, they're old books, they're classic books, and they were science fiction masters. But they would write about things like, "Oh, self-driving cars," and here we are.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is because I there's also, like, another tangent to fall downward, but I'll try not to, but it just reminds me of also, like, pop culture and media and how technology responds to that and vice
Mhm.
versa, because I think there was, like I think it was, like, something on Star Trek. I'm not a Trekkie, I've never watched it, I never even watched any of the movies, even though it's funny because I interviewed Leonard Nimoy's son about his memoir, Adam Nimoy, so it was really funny 'cause I told him, I was like, "Yeah, just a heads up, I've never watched it or I don't know, but trust me, I know your dad's name is, like, globally known." He was just like he's there. It was just such a fascinating interview, but also, yeah, I think there was something, like, on Star Trek where there was, like, some sort of technology that was coming out that was just imagined, but then somebody saw that and they tried to make it real. Like,
Mhm.
a company saw that and they tried to make it real, and I'm like, "That's so crazy how sci-fi
Yeah.
and concepts could give people ideas to be like, "Wait, like, this is probably possible. We think
Yeah.
we could do it." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Which
so
I think
crazy.
is I think that is so fascinating, and it's one of those other questions about AI. Can AI make the leap to imagine what doesn't exist yet, or will it
Yeah.
always just repackage something that has already been created by humans? So, yeah, I guess at the point when AI is leapfrogging and saying, "Oh, I created that that didn't exist before. I imagined that. I felt this."
Yes.
Then I think we're in a whole new world.
Again, terrifying.
Can you imagine in 5 years you interviewing an AI bot that
No, I can't.
wrote a
That would be super fascinating, but then I would be like, I don't know, I'd be like, "I don't wanna give you access to my interviewing software here. I don't wanna give you a link. I don't want what are you gonna do with it?" And I think even, like, joke about with Alexa. I think I joked around, I was, "Alexa, do you work for the government?" And she answered, she's, "No, I work for Amazon." It was like
and
that's how paranoid I am. She's probably like, the AI is probably not taking me too seriously, like, answer me anyway. I was like, "It's okay, little girl." Woman, whatever you are. Oh, something that reminded me of some of the workshops that I've been going to, like, about podcasting and stuff and, like, the legalities of it. One was like, can you copyright if you used AI or something? Can you still copyright, like, your content or something like that? Is it legally protected? And it came down to, no, you can only copyright something that's was created by a human. So there were stuff out there that, like, AI created music or whatever, but it couldn't be copyrighted because it wasn't a human. Even if it was, like, a human who created the AI, nothing that anything that's created by AI cannot be owned or
Mhm.
copyrighted or trademarked or anything like that because it doesn't belong to a human, which I thought was crazy, also makes sense, but also that's a loophole for for that's a loophole that I don't know if a lot of people know about, or maybe a lot of people already do know about, or I'm sure the AI companies know about it, but I thought just something is like that detail kind of gets my head spinning of, "Whoa."
Yeah,
Like
I know what you mean. I was talking with I think they were 7th graders, 7th and 8th graders who were in a writing club, and we got into, as is not surprising, we got into the conversation of AI and whether or not it's practical for them to use AI to write a book because that would take 10 minutes versus possibly 10 years. And so I tossed a question out and I said, "How many of you think it's okay to write with AI or have an AI write your book?" And some hands went up and I said, "Okay, let's say you write a book through AI and it sells amazingly. It's top of all of the charts, and then Netflix comes and they want to make a movie, and then they decide the movie's going to be so great, we're going to make a series, and there are sequels and prequels and all of this, and the eyes were getting huge. Yes, that's what I want. So I said, "Who owns that?" And a few hands went up and said, "I do, because I my name's on it. I wrote it." Yeah, but you didn't create the AI application that wrote it, and you didn't create the AI application that wrote the sequels and wrote the audio dramas and wrote the movie scripts and wrote all of that. So, do you own it, or does the company that created the AI own it? And I don't know the answer, but
Mhm.
it's definitely something for people to consider.
Yeah, and that's such a important lesson. I'm glad there are people like you out there who are trying to, like, incorporate those implications into,
Yeah.
um, your lessons because they need to know. They need to know, and I think middle grade is probably an appropriate time to get them at least to get it on their radar, to,
Yeah,
like
just think it through. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Amongst a million other things,
I
like
know, I know. One more thing for you to think about.
I know, right? Oh gosh, I know I make this joke all the time, but I'm like, I think my kids are gonna be smarter than me no matter what. But I'm like, they're already smarter than me. I'm like, as long as they don't know it yet. As long as they don't know that they're smarter than me. I got a few more years until I'm like they're still like, "How do you know? How do you know?" Because I'm your mom, I know everything. When it's something as simple as I'm watching them and they don't know I'm watching it. Or I think it was like teaching them when they were like potty training or like teaching them to, okay, no, wash your hands after every time you go to the bathroom. I don't care what you touch or what you don't touch. That's just what we do. And it was like, I ask every time, you wash your hands? Yes. And I'd be like, okay, let me feel your hands. And they're like, okay, fine. How did you know? And I'm like, because I'm your mom. I know everything. I'm like,
So they
like,
haven't pulled out their tablet yet to say, "I asked Mom GPT,"
you know,
and Mar
they did start to learn like saying, okay, Google. And then, oh no, now my Google thinks I'm asking. No,
Yes.
no, no, leave me alone. I'm not trying to ask you anything. But they'll say that. And, like, for something like, "Oh, what's the weather gonna be like today?" So they're slowly learning how to do that stuff because they see my husband doing it, and so they
Mhm.
say, "Okay," and then they say, "What's the temperature today?" It was just more humorous to see my four-year-old try to do it. He's just because I don't know, it doesn't always recognize his voice and doesn't always, like, provide feedback, and then when it does, he's just, "I did it," like,
That's so cute, though.
I know, he's adorable. He knows it, though, but he's also second born, so there's that second born energy.
Yep.
It's so funny. It's so funny. It's like the universal understanding, like non unwritten rule. It's like it's different. It's a different energy. It's different. I don't know what it is. If it's like shared supervision or just like I don't know what it is, but I love my kids so much, but I'm like, oh, this one like chooses violence every day. So I do wanna wrap this up because we've been talking forever. I feel like we'll talk forever about everything, and AI is just such a fascinating topic. So, J.E. Thomas, what is next for you? Are you working on anything that you could talk about?
I can't talk about it yet, but I
Okay, I
am
don't wanna get you in trouble, so it's okay.
yeah. I am working on a couple of things, and I what I can say is I'm working on adult science fiction, so I'm adding
Okay.
2 genres, actually, and then I want to try my hand at writing an audio drama.
Like the graphic audio or like
You know how there's some original multicast recordings of yeah, like a movie
yeah,
for your ears? That's what
for
I
your
want to do.
yeah. That's so cool. Yeah, that I bet that would be so much fun and such like a new adventure for you.
Mm.
That's really ambitious.
Something
That's
new
where
to
you
learn.
use your students to like test things out. We're like, okay, there's like get a bunch of microphones and have them act out a scene and like how like logistically how is that who knows? That might be something fun for them too. That's so funny. That's so fun. That's so exciting.
Thank you. And then I'm teaching a class in July for kids, 9 to 17, I think, on writing the inhuman. So it's how do you write aliens? How do you write computer programs without anthropomorphizing them and turning them into just metallic people?
Yeah. Oh, that's so you could go anywhere with that. That's I am mad. That's gonna be something. That's gonna be something.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Where can we, keep up with you online and on social media for any of the projects that you've got going on?
The best place is my website, which is jethomasauthor.com. And I use that same handle on Instagram. So it's at JE Thomas Author on Blue Sky and and YouTube. But I'm a regular about using social media.
Mhm.
But
That's
I
okay.
do always check my website.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, it is. And then also it's definitely a lot.
Yeah, I know. I'm still figuring I feel like every day I'm figuring it out. Just, okay, where are people gonna see the stuff that I'm trying to share?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it feels like every day there's a
100%.
new social media platform, and
I
I
know there's so many other things out there, and you're not sure who's on what, for sure.
exactly, exactly. Are you on Substack?
I created a Substack. So the answer is yes, the Cantina Book Club is on Substack. There's not much activity on there. So I'm the same as you. It's irregular. But yeah, that's definitely a newer one that I'm like, okay, I'll create it because I think, is it something, and that's what, again, is it something I should be doing? What does this offer that like other things don't offer? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And but it's just, again, more things to learn and
I
stuff like
know.
that.
I know.
Yeah.
I created a Substack also, and I have posted absolutely nothing because it's how am I going to generate this content? And I know
Yeah.
that's why people often turn to AI because it can crank something out for you in seconds, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
But
not
then I
you.
also see for you, it's a little trickier because of your audience. Like for the work that you're putting out, your audience is like a little, but I'm sure with your career, your professional career, like you understand that audience really well.
Yeah.
But it's still like, how do you reach them on a regular basis type of thing?
Yeah, exactly. I made the decision with these 2 books that are middle grade that I was not going to aim any social media toward middle grade kids because according to the guidelines, they shouldn't be on those platforms anyway, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
market to them.
Yeah.
I know that that's just the call that I made. I will send information or post information for parents and for teachers and
Yeah.
for podcasters and reviewers, but I'm not going to, like, turn it into Captain Crunch cereal or something and try to
Yeah.
market to kids to get them to say, "I want this." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little challenging because you gotta figure out, okay, but you obviously want them to read your books,
I
so
do,
it's
I do. I
yeah,
definitely want them to read it. I want them to hear about it. I want them to have a great time reading it. I want parents and teachers and librarians to hear about it and to get the book and put it in front of kids. But in terms of trying to really put up a post or something oriented,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
even the book trailer, which is fun and funny. It's appropriate for kids, but I'm not aiming it at kids. I don't know if I'm explaining that
yeah.
quite well, but
No, it's okay, I get it. It's a weird thing to navigate for sure.
it is. It really
Yeah,
is. It is.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay, so J.E. Thomas, The AI Incident, that book is available on July 8th. Thank you so much for chatting with me, for all your time, and for just I like, again, I like, it's entertaining and they're fun, and all like the audience that like we're talking about, it's appropriate, but it's also, it's so entertaining, your books, and thank you for just all your authentic answers and for your time and all that good stuff. And again, when and if you are ready to release whatever works, even if it's your new projects, feel free to come back. I'd love to chat again.
Thank you so much. I loved being here. Thank you.
And there you go. That was J.E. Thomas talking about her book, The AI Incident. That book is available on July 8th. Check out the show notes where you can find links where to purchase the book. Check out her other works, such as Control Freaks, and where you can find her online and on social media. Rate, review, subscribe. Find Cantina Book Club wherever you look for new book recommendations or book reviews. You can also check out on cantinabookclub.com. I'm always posting new reviews up there. This year has been really busy for me, and I cover all sorts of genres, so there's plenty for you to check out. I've also got a YouTube channel up there, Cantina Book Club, where you can find clips and full interviews, and which are also separated by author and by genres. If you're ever curious about checking those out, I'd really appreciate it. And also hit that subscribe button. If there's one thing you take away from these interviews, please do hop on over to Goodreads and Amazon and give these authors a like, a follow, a rating, and review. It really does help them out. And as always, thank you guys so much for listening.